Hello again. After my last video when I realized that my little Raspberry Pi 400 was giving really good CPU benchmarking performance with very low power consumption compared to other computers, I thought I'd calculate the ratio of those two, the crypto hash benchmark speed from hard info divided by power consumption of the CPU at full load. So it's speed divided by power, so that's like bang for your buck basically. And the results are just amazing, because if we look at this table that I showed in the last video, this is the column I've added for the benchmark divided by the power consumption at full CPU load. And you see that this i7, for example, scores 9.2, a bit better because higher is better. A score of 14 is more processing power for less actual electrical power consumption. That's an i7 7500, which is a more modern processor. That's Series 7, whereas this is Series 4. So you can see as processors get more modern, then they give better performance in terms of benchmark for watt of power consumption. So then we go down the list. There's most of them around about 10, 14. That's another better one. That's an i7 again, Series 7. So again, the Series 7 processors are scoring 14, whereas the older ones, Series 4, 3, 5, they're scoring only 10. As we go down the list, there's a score of 6. That's a Series 2 processor, i5, 5, nothing special, 7, 13.6. That's a bit better. Why is that higher? Oh, it's a laptop. So laptops have been designed to optimize power consumption in terms of being low power devices with reasonable performance. Then we go down the list, 6.7, 45. Whoa, that's an outrageously high score. What is that? Oh, it's the Raspberry Pi 400. So unbelievably, the Raspberry Pi 400 has, because of its extremely low power consumption of only 6 watts at full load and a pretty good crypto hash score, 270, it's giving me a ratio of 45, which is way higher than all of the others. That's amazing. It really blows the others out of the water. Then we get 5, 1.7. That's incredibly low. Horrible. What's that? That's a Xeon server processor. Quite slow, and 142 watts power consumption. So that's one of the lowest scores ever, I think. And also one of the noisiest computers. 6, 6, these are all pretty low scores. 3.3 is pretty low. That's a Core 2 Duo, rather old technology. 15, that's a high score, but that's a Celeron, a very recent Celeron processor, which is in an Intel NUC computer, new unit of computing, the Intel NUC, and that's well known to be a very low power consumption processor, just 13 watts at full load, giving the score of 15, which is very respectable. And then as we go down the list, what's this? Is the worst. 1.1 is extremely low. Oh, it's another Xeon, another server. So the Xeon processors really give the worst possible performance divided by power consumption. So that's an interesting result, which I didn't expect until I just did this calculation quickly. I was amazed. This 45 is more than 3 times higher than any of the other processors. You can see 14 is about the maximum, 14 or 15. So that really is an amazing result for the Raspberry Pi, which means in terms of performance for 1 watt of power consumption, the Raspberry Pi is more than 3 times better than any of the other processors that I have in my other computers, which are 99% Intel. There's one AMD processor in there. The question now, of course, is what performance will we get from the Apple Silicon M1 processor? It would be interesting to install Linux on one of those and do exactly the same test and measure the benchmark performance for power consumption. Maybe I just have to go out and get one. For this reason, watch this space. Remember to hit the like button.